everyone, it's Melody with Design by Melody. I am just going to give you a quick overview of the supplies that I have left from my May 2018 Allie Edwards Stories by the Month kit. I don't have a ton left, but I do have enough to work with, so I'm going to make a Project Life page today. Just wanted to give you a quick overview so you kind of knew, where I'm at with the kit. And then, of course, I'll do a killer kit after I do my final layout, and this will be my final layout. I've got all of my photos laid out here, and as you can see, it's a very photo heavy day, and I've kind of switched around my layout. I'm still using the Design A page protector, but I'm having all of the two bottom sections be 4x6 photos, but I am going to cut the two 4x6 photos in the middle row down to be able to fit into four 3x4 slots. But the way I'm going to kind of make that cohesive is by taking some cards, some 4x6 cards, and cutting them apart. That way the pattern spans over the two 3x4 pockets to kind of show that it is a full 4x6 photo. I will cut it down just a little bit in order to make it fit, but you'll be able to see in the end when I'm talking about how the photos kind of, even though there's a seam in the middle, they really flow from pocket to pocket. Now, I love keeping the white border, so I'm cutting them down and then I'm going to mount them on some white cardstock and then trim it right down the center. So you'll see what I mean as I'm actually laying it. So I've got it right there cut down, trimmed down, and then mounted on some white cardstock. And I have my scrap bin sitting right there on my desk, so I'm just pulling white cardstock pieces out of there. Now, just a tip, if you guys are out of white cardstock or you don't want to cut into a big sheet of white cardstock, what you could do is actually just use the back side of some single-sided pattern papers that you may not be using or may not really like, or even just the back of some packaging. So these are the two cards that I'm actually pulling out, and they're the same card. I pulled those from the Stampin Up! Perfect Days card set that I kind of have sitting on my desk to use whenever I'm in need of a additional card or an additional element to add. So keeping that little card pack on my desk has been quite handy. I'm interested to see, how long it actually takes me to go through it. I just started using it like a week ago, I guess. Maybe it was like a week ago. So we'll just say the beginning of July. We'll go with that. So I'm interested to see how long it takes me to get through that kit, because it has quite a few cards in it, but I'm using it quite frequently. I'm actually going to use these two cards that I'm cutting down into 3x4 pockets, and then what you can sort of see but may not have realized what I've done is that top left card, that's the orange card, that I'm going to put the they're not really 3x4, but two smaller photos on. I have an acetate piece over it, over the orange card, just to kind of add a little bit of color, a little bit of pattern to it, because what I'm doing is this orange card has a quote on it, which I really like the quote. However, I wasn't going to use the quote in this layout, so I decided to cover it up and just use the orange. I'm okay with that. And it pulls in the orange from that 1, 2, 3 card on the top right. But I'm just I cut down the orange card to be able to have the white border to match all the other pockets in this layout, and then I'm adding the acetate piece that has like gemstones on it from that Perfect Days Stampin' Up! Kit that I have sitting on my desk. And then I am going to pull a few more elements from that Perfect Days kit to complete this layout, because as you saw in the beginning, I really don't have very much left. So I'm using some of the cards that were left. I'm going to be using some of the chipboard pieces. I'm going to use a stamp set. And I'm also going to cut down one of the 3x4 cards that is left and use it as like a die cut piece on the layout. I do have a few little scraps that I will incorporate just a little bit. Like you could see the orange piece that I cut off that 4x6 orange card, and I will use that and a few cards here just to kind of bring in that orange in a few more places. Now I put a chipboard piece that says, "Son, please and thank you." And this is where I'm taking that 3x4 card, and it says, "Loving these lessons learned." And it says, "Here's what I'm learning." And so you're supposed to journal below that, but I'm actually just cutting that down and putting it on this bottom left photo. So what these photos are, so the top row are two pictures of Kaylin like dancing, and then a big bucket of water balloons. And then I am going to journal, kind of explain that. But what that is that's we had bought all these water balloons to take to the beach with us, and we ended up not using all of them. We used a good many of them, but we didn't use all of them. So he really, really wanted to throw water balloons and like play, but I didn't want to get wet. So what we decided to do is fill up all the water balloons, and then I stood on the porch while he ran around like the little front. This is when we were in the townhouse we were in, and we had very little yard. So he ran around the little grassy area, and I threw water balloons at him. I think I definitely got the better end of that scenario. So anyways, the gray chipboard circle that you see sitting up there says last day of school, and I just crossed through school and wrote summer because that was kind of like the last day of summer. And then I've been stamping this stamp. It says Backyard Adventures, so I'm going to cut that out and use it as like a die cut up there. And then I have a little scrap from my bin just of journaling lines, and so I'm going to do my journaling there, and all it's going to say is, what's more fun than a water balloon fight? A water balloon fight where only mama has balloons to throw. And so that was just kind of describing that a little bit, and I am going to do a few more embellishments at that top. This is where I'm taking those little orange strips that were the scraps off of the 4x6 orange card that I cut and just embellish in a few areas. Now there was a silver foiled like washi tape sticker that kind of mimics the silver acetate piece that's under the top left photo on that orange card. And so I'm putting that just down the border on that bottom right photo, and that is just to kind of mimic a little bit of that silver foiling on a couple places on the layout. I am going to take one of those silver hearts and put them on that 1, 2, 3 card on the top right as well, so I'll have 3 places where the orange silver foiling is. Now I have that lessons learned, or loving these lessons learned piece that I kind of made into a die cut, and I am also doing a little bit of journaling on just an LE Studio label here to kind of explain what's going on in these other photos. So the 4 bottom photos, there's 3 photos of Kaylin running, and then there's a photo of Ernest with Kaylin giving him a popsicle on the bottom right. So they did a fundraiser at his school, and basically the kids ran, and then they would, you know, ask for people to sponsor them depending on how many laps they ran. So anyways, it just says, look at him go, Kaylin is running in the school fun run. And I thought that that worked with the lessons learned, or that the lessons learned card worked with these photos, because it really kind of taught him about like donations and like earning or getting people to sponsor you, not just having people donate money, but getting, you know, like you doing something and having people sponsor you, and then that being, you know, like your fundraiser and I think they were raising money for new computers at the school or something like that. So it really was something that was a big impact. And so he kind of got to participate, and then of course it was super hot, and so Ernest and Kaylin are sitting in the shade because we went there and cheered him on, and he was sitting in the shade afterwards eating a popsicle to kind of cool off a little bit. I love the chipboard pieces that come in the Allie Edwards kits. They are really great quality, and so I've kind of got them scattered around the page. And then I did pull out some cork hearts, and those are from Pretty Little Studios. It's called Cork Wholehearted from 8 Life Grand collection. And then I do have a few of the stickers that are from that Perfect Days Stampin' Up kit, and that top one, that black sticker that says Celebrate, is from there. Plus I already told you the silver foiling is from there. Now I did use just a tiny little piece of that why do I want to say burlap? It's not burlap. Brown paper bag that the kit came in to layer under the edge of that Loving These Lessons Learned on the bottom card. And that was just to kind of give it a little bit of weight at the bottom and not be such a large die cut by itself. So I added a little piece of that brown paper bag. I also cut a little banner out of one of the little blue scraps that was left from a previous layout. And then I did the LE Studio label and then the cork heart. So I kind of created a little cluster down there. And then on the top left, I did the same thing. I have a heart, I have the Celebrate sticker, and then I have a chipboard piece On the right top card, I kind of did the same thing. Have a little bit of washi tape, and that's just some random washi tape that I had sitting around, and that's actually from Pick Your Plum, which is one of those daily deal sites, and I use it for a whole bunch of different things. But I it's actually got anchors on it. It's like a ocean themed washi tape, but it's primarily black and white, which is why I used it. You really can't tell what the pattern is. It's just to be able to layer a few things on. I'm doing a tiny little bit of journaling left, and it says Daddy hooking Kaylin up with a popsicle to cool down on that bottom right card. And we're almost to the end of this layout, just kind of going through to see what else I want to add. This is where I'm adding that third little bit of silver foiling, so it kind of has a little bit more of a finished feel, because I'll have 3 places where the silver foiling is. And then I'm going through to see what else I can add. I always do this at the end of every layout. I look at my scraps that I have left, I look at the other things that are on my desk, and I just try to see if there's anything that needs a little bit more. Adding a tiny little banner up here to the top right card, and that is pretty much going to finish this layout. Make sure you look at the photos at the end where I'll show you the completed page. I'm just kind of gathering all my supplies here, taking one last look at them, and then right after I finish this layout, I will be filming my Kit. So keep an eye out for that. That's going to be the next video up for you guys, where I show you what is left from my Allie Edwards kit, and I show you everything that I created. Thank you so much for joining me today. Please let me know if you have any questions whatsoever. All right, guys, bye.